I'm Vinnie Politan. The subject of my investigation is a woman named Mamta Bhatt. She's a young mother and a pediatric nurse. Her friends and family have been desperately searching for her, but her husband is not, because he's locked up. Here's her story. Mamta Bhatt came to the United States from her native country of Nepal in 2021. She lived in Manassas Park, Virginia, in a nice home on a cul-de-sac. The perfect place to start raising a family with her husband, Naresh Bhatt. Mamta worked as a pediatric nurse at Prince William Medical Center. In August of 2023, Mamta gave birth to a baby girl, the first child of Mamta and Naresh. Then she went back to work. Early in 2024, there were some reported marital issues for the couple, and Mamta moved out of the house for a short while before returning. Then, on August 1st, when Mamta did not report to work and no one could contact her, co-workers asked for a welfare check to be done. Police went to the house, but left after speaking with Naresh. A few days later, Mamta was officially declared as an involuntarily missing person. Then, in another dramatic moment, police executed a search warrant of the home and arrested Naresh, not for murder, but for concealing a dead body. And now her family, co-workers, and members of the community are still searching and still hoping to find Mamta. Young mother, that little girl that she has, 1 year old, she wouldn't just leave. Why would a young mother who's a pediatric nurse just leave? Doesn't make sense to me. So it didn't make sense to her coworkers as well when she didn't show up to work, because she goes to work. Not only a young mother, but a hard-working person. So they called police and there was a wellness check. And we have the body camera video of that wellness check. So you can see for the very first time, police are involved here, and they go to the house to ask and find out about Mamta. And they speak with her husband, who answers the door with that young child. Let's take a look.
Hello, sir. How are you? I'm Officer of the team Manassas Park Police. We're looking for Miss Mamta Kafle.
Yeah, she like on Tuesday, Wednesday, she left, and then she says she's gonna go either New York or Texas, and then she left, she had the phone, and then she destroyed that phone, and then she left.
So she destroyed the phone and she left. She said she was going to New York.
Yeah, her sister, one of her sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any other contact information?
Yeah, I like she has a different 3 phones. I do have like 2 phone numbers. One phone number, somebody other receiving. One another contact number for the New York. I do have.
Okay, can you show me that, please? Can you hand that info?
Can we get those phone numbers from you?
Yeah, we just want to see if she's okay, because we have an employer calling to check.
Hi.
Did she say why she left?
Yeah, because we are about to separate, and then the home inspection come here to I'm about to sell the home. So she wanna say okay, I wanna go with my sisters, and then she used to work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Okay.
And then sometimes I don't know where. You can come inside or I can come outside.
This is supposed to do, sir.
Up to you, sir. Yeah.
And she used to live in a Falls Church. I don't know the exact address. I know the building because I noticed there because I saw her email, and then one place over there, and then I don't know somewhere in Manassas, because on the 8th I think on the 8th she started a job.
Last month?
No. Yeah, last month, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. On the 8th, so I'm not working since that. She say she gonna be stay there, and then once she gonna be everything settled down, she will take the baby. She not gonna leave the baby with me. That's what she said. I know the building in Falls Church where she was. Still, she's living over there or Texas, because I already conversation with her sister. She just did not reply me, and then she was asking me, and then her mom. And then her mom is also asking for me. I don't know where is she.
Okay. So if you could give us the phone numbers, please. We want to see if we can make contact with her.
This is not the first time. Multiple times she go and then come back in few days.
Okay.
I don't have the phone number for her sister. You know, usually I have a like. Facebook, but like I don't have her phone number.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay.
So, you know, like that's what, you know, I replied like 2/4/23. Usually she works Thursday to Saturday. She works there. And then, you know, like it's not like first time she disappear and then come back. I live with my parents over there. She say like, okay, I'm not gonna live with your parents. My parents left back home. And then, you know, still a lot of issue going. She got the green card already, and then she was about to, you know, like, yeah.
Okay. When she left, was she, did you say anything about like, hurting herself or anything concerning?
No, because, you know, if it's the
normal?
first time, then, you know, like I can say, oh, okay, where are you going, this and that. This is like, you know, multiple times. I don't know, like, you know, who called you, but like, you know, sometimes she came back, and then most of the her stuff, like regular stuff, she already, you know, like, I think like in March, she already take regular stuff, like regular wearing, regular shoes. This is her shoes even, like, you know. But the regular things, she already take it. But like the normal thing, like, you know, fancy wear, you know, like a suits, special wear, still we have here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I get your phone number, sir?
Yeah.
And do
703.
you have ID on you?
Yeah.
Okay. Just get that. Yeah, we'll get it all at once.
She is not at the work.
So yeah, her employer called and asking, just called us to check if she was okay. So that's why we're here. We don't mean to bother you.
No, that's fine. She's supposed to be there. You know, usually, like, I don't know. I cannot check, you know, like where she goes.
Okay. Right there. Thank you. That's all I know.
Military?
Yeah.
What branch?
Army.
Army?
You do?
Okay. Virginia.
No, my wife is military.
Oh, wow. So, can I have your card or something?
Yes, I'll give you my card.
Yeah, so that I can call back.
He's got a story, right? He tells a story there. What's interesting to me, though, is when he answers the door and the police are there asking, he's not asking, well, why are you asking about where she is? Doesn't, no, it just starts right into it. Anyhow, here's the first question I have about this case. Does his story make sense? You heard his story right out of the bat. She went to Texas, New York, destroyed her phone. Joining me tonight, nurse and Mamta's former co-worker, Holly Worth, is with us, and human behavior expert, Susan Constantine. Holly, I'll begin with you because you know Mamta. Does that story make sense that she is going to just leave her newborn one-year-old child behind, smash her phone, and run off to Texas or New York?
No. The simple answer to that is no. As you said, I have the privilege of working with Mamta at a previous organization. This is very uncharacteristic behavior. You took the words out of my mouth, Vinnie. From the minute he came to the door, Mr. Bhatt started in with what I wrote down as talking too much, right? He immediately said all of these excuses, never said, hello, officers, why are you at my door? What can I help you with? He came out within 10 seconds talking about all these theories that he had where his wife was, neglected to say how she would have gotten to New York or Texas. We know she doesn't have a vehicle, she doesn't drive, and so I'm not really sure how she got somewhere without a phone. Not to mention the fact that he's talking about her sister, and Mamta has no blood relatives in the U.S. So absolutely, that story does not make sense.
All right, Susan Constantine, I think you had a lot to work with there. What did you see from the husband?
Okay, so right at the onset of it, you see where he opens up the door and his eyes just dart real sharp, right to left. That's a fear response. He felt like there was a form of threat that was going on. He was suspicious, trying to figure out what's going on. Then he automatically goes into the side lean, right? And then he goes into this narrative, just like your other guest said, is that he tends to over-explain. That's one of the deceptive indicators. The fact that he leaned over and felt so comfortable, he kind of went like, let's have a conversation, boys, and let me tell you what's happening. The other thing is with his hand gestures, There are times where it's on sync. He's very illustrative, so he tends to use gestures that illustrate his words. And then when he loses his way, they go off sync. They're delayed or they're not making sense with the word. So the good dad kind of appearance was kind of a prop for me, spinning the narrative. His speech increases and more speed when he felt like he wasn't convincing the police officer, so he kept spinning more stories. And then multiple times, which is really interesting, you'll see this really odd snare. And I want you to, I know we have that photograph, and it's always around these conversations, and it has to do with his wife or his sister, just like that. You can see his eyebrows pinched together, his anger, suspicion, looking over, and the snare pops up. So I analyzed that multiple times, figure out, is this his baseline? But it only happens at certain moments, so it's off his baseline. The other thing is I want to share with you is he uses a lot of what we call explanation words like because, and then he uses a lot of skipping over words like passing of time, then she, and then she. So when I analyzed him, and without even doing the whole thing, Vinny, he scored 78%. He's a liar.
Susan Constantine on top of it. When we come back, why didn't police do more?
I think it was her job who called, just called them, let them know that, hey, spoke to the husband. It appears they're going through a divorce, and she left and went to New York.
It was mass chaos in Kenosha.
A 17-year-old boy charged with killing 2 people during a chaotic protest.
Kyle Rittenhouse is the hero of Kenosha.
My son lost his life protecting other people. My son was a hero.
People are dug in on both sides.
It was scary to put him on, but we felt as though we had to.
I intended to stop the people who were attacking me.
Victim to Verdict with Ted Rollins. All new Sunday night, 8/7 Central.
Only on Court TV.
Wednesday, she left, and then she says she's gonna go either New York or Texas, and then she left, she had the phone, and then she destroyed that phone, and then she left.
So she destroyed the phone and she left. She said she was going to New York.
Yeah, her sister, one of her sister.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have any other contact information?
Yeah, I like she has a different 3 phones. I do have 2 phone numbers. One phone number, somebody other receiving, one another contact number. For the New York, I do have.
Okay, can you show me that, please? Can you hand that info?
Can we get those phone numbers from you?
Yeah, we just want to see if she's okay because we have an employer calling.
I don't have the phone number for her sister. You know, usually I have a Facebook, but I don't have her phone number.
I have the phone number, now I don't have the phone number. Interesting, interesting. I want you to take a listen to this part because there's a part when the husband, Naresh, goes back inside and the officers are out by themselves talking amongst themselves. I want you to listen to that conversation.
Do you have ID on you?
Yeah.
Okay. Just get that. Yeah, we'll get it all at once. So we don't have contact. I mean, what I'm thinking is if maybe get his info and tell us to give us a call if she comes back.
Get his info. Sounds like they're going through a divorce, so she decided to go to New York with her sister. If she just comes back and gives you a call, and just, I think it was her job who called, just called them, let them know that, hey, spoke to the husband. It appears they're going through a divorce, and she left and went to New York.
And then she's not at the work?
So yeah, her employer called and asking, just called us to check if she was okay. So that's why we're here. We don't mean to bother you.
No, that's fine. She's supposed to be there. You know, usually, I don't know. I cannot check, where she goes.
Okay, so they're not doing much here, right? They're gonna tell them that I spoke to the husband. They're going through a divorce. She's left town, and that's it. And that's it. Meanwhile, everyone watching this, like, yeah, it's you know, 2020 vision from after the fact, but brings me to my next question, which is it's a real question here. Why didn't police do more in this moment? Like initially, like be a little more curious, a few more questions. Still with us, nurse and Mamta's former co-worker, Holly Worth. Also joining us now, former homicide detective and host of The Interview Room with Chris McDonough. Chris McDonough is with us. Chris, I'm going to begin with you. I understand, maybe I get it wrong, the whole police world, but like these guys are like the beat cops, they're young. But doesn't everyone wants to be a detective like you were a detective? Like this is an opportunity, isn't it? Isn't this an opportunity to ask some more probing questions?
Yeah, absolutely, Vinny. And they have one job, and that job is to check the welfare on the reported missing person and or party who they believe may be in danger. And this guy gave them multiple opportunities to go into that house. But I didn't hear one time, do you mind if I come into the house and check up on your wife just to make sure? Because we have to follow up with, you know, et cetera, the employers, et cetera. And there were a whole bunch of red flags that we can go over.
Holly, let me ask you, my understanding is that locally, the friends and family and the co-workers, everyone, there was some level of frustration with law enforcement initially in this case.
Yeah, there was. I've gone on the record with some level of frustration. I've also gone on the record saying I have tremendous amount of support for the Manassas Park Police Department. I'm not a law enforcement official. And as you said, we're playing Monday morning quarterback. What we now know likely happened in that house was a horrific crime. But I've had the unfortunate privilege of watching the body cam footage several times. And I've likened it to like Mr. Bhatt did this fire hose of lies at them. And I just think at that time, these officers didn't know up from down. He's given them so many inconsistent false leads. But at the end of the day, I think the story he was trying to weave was that we're in a bad relationship. My wife left town. I'm not concerned about her. She's done this before. So why should you be concerned about it? I can't speak to, you know, police policies and protocols, but I will tell you this man is fluent in lies. Maybe not the best liar based on the body language expert, right. But he spent about 14 minutes just hosing them with lies. And so perhaps that was what led them to make the decisions that they did. But again, I defer to the police expert to weigh in more.
Absolutely. So, Chris, what are some of those red flags and how would you respond to those?
Well, you've got a couple of things going on simultaneously, Vinny. You've got the two people in the background, and you know you have an officer that speaks Spanish. So one of the officers should have stayed with him, and the other officer should have gone back to those people and say, hey, this woman is missing. She lives upstairs, you know, et cetera, and kind of prod into that. The second one here is he invited them in. They should have taken him up on that and gone into the house. And while in there, that's where you can say, do you mind if I look around? And then the third one I noticed is when he reached into his wallet, he handed the officers 2 identification cards. I want to know who the second identification card was. And if he was getting his wife's ID, that would correlate into a problem with the smashed phone, et cetera. Why is she potentially leaving with her ID here? And then, of course, the other red flag is her shoes are there at the porch, and he makes sure to point that out. So he just talks too much, and they could have got hold of dispatch, said, hey, do we have any CAD history here? Any domestic violence history here? Can you give me that type of information? And then they should have stepped off the porch and called the employer, who was the RP, the reporting party, and said, hey, this is what we're hearing. What can you tell us?
So give us some idea, Chris, because before you were a detective, you were, you know, you were walking the streets a little bit.
Yep.
These situations are always complicated, right? Very personal, domestic situations. Is there some hesitancy at all in some of these because you've done so many of these and people just, you know, People leave, they go. It's an adult. An adult can come and go as they want.
Well, there's always that question. I want to know if the second officer who's talking is a trainee, because he's bouncing things off of the first officer, Johnson. And if he's a training, this could be an FTO problem, which is a field training officer problem. And so, of course, you always want to err on the side of caution. And that caution in these types of cases is the fact that you're looking for this woman to check on her well-being.
And how about some questions about what her phone number is and information connected to her that might help track her down?
Absolutely, and that's why you have dispatch. When you get, when he says, yeah, I've got these 3 numbers, and he mentioned 3 of them, and then he comes out and goes, well, I really don't have any numbers. That's when you can get on the radio and you can get hold of dispatch and say, hey, can you shoot a call into, the RP here, and let's get a little more information here because she's not here.
All right. And I'm not a cop, but what I would have done is ask for, hey, do you have a photo of her, by the way? Do you have a photo with you? So you know who you're looking for. So you actually know who you're looking for. Holly Worth, Chris McDonough. All right. There's a lot of layers to this story. You know that. I know that. I'm Vinnie Politan. We'll keep digging for the answers as the investigation continues. I'm Vinnie Politan. We continue our investigation into the disappearance of a young mother named Mamta Bhatt. Her daughter is just 1 year old and may never see her mom again. It's a story that her friends and family are so desperate for answers. Here's her story. Mamta Bhatt came to the U.S. from Nepal in 2021. She worked as a pediatric nurse and married a man named Naresh Bhatt. They lived on a beautiful, quiet cul-de-sac in Manassas Park, Virginia. In 2023, they welcomed their first child into the world, a beautiful baby girl. But close to a year later, Mamta vanished, missing seemingly without a trace. And now her family, co-workers, and the community are coming together to help find Mamta. Meanwhile, her husband was arrested and charged with concealing a dead body after several conversations with police and a search of his home. He's been charged with concealing a body. At this point, police absolutely believe that Mamta was murdered. He has been charged with murder, but they believe she's murdered, she's not alive. Now, before those charges, before he was arrested, they went to the house for a wellness check, and Naresh, the husband, told him where Mamta was. Take a listen.
We're looking for Miss Mamta Kafle.
Yeah, we see like on Tuesday, Wednesday, she left, and then she says she's gonna go either New York or Texas, and then she left, she had the phone, and then she destroyed that phone, and then she left.
So she destroyed the phone and she left. She said she was going to New York.
Yeah, her sister, one of her sister.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have any other contact information?
Yeah, I like she has a different 3 phones. I do have like 2 phone numbers. One phone number, somebody other receiving. One another for contact number. For the New York, I do have.
Okay, so she left. Now investigators don't believe that. I don't believe that she just left. They've charged him with concealing a body based on the evidence that they've found in this case, including some drag marks, allegedly with blood inside the home. So this brings me to my next question. This is an important one. Where is Mamta? Where is she? If we're looking for a body, where was her body placed? With us, nurse and Mamta's former co-worker, Holly Worth, and former homicide detective Chris McDonough, host of The Interview Room. Okay, I want to take a look at some maps. I always think it's important to take a look at the area that we're talking about. So let's begin. We can take a look at where the house was that they lived. Beautiful house in a cul-de-sac. You see where it is. You've got trees around it, houses next to each other. Typical neighborhood, but when you pull back a little bit, something very interesting. A whole lot of trees, a lot of woods, and you see some bodies of water. And obviously, where you are down in Virginia, you pull back even further, and you're going to see lots of water, lots of trees, lots of places that a body could be. Holly Worth, I want to begin with you. There have been searches by law enforcement. There have been searches by the community. What areas have they been looking in?
Yeah, thank you. There have been searches of wooded areas, both in the Bhatt neighborhood as well as adjacent parks. I am sad to say the information that came out of a recent court hearings appears that she's not actually in the woods, that it's alleged that Mr. Bhatt actually disposed of her in varied dumpsters around the three-county area where we live in. So that would be in Fairfax Falls Church area, Loudoun County, and Manassas. So unfortunately, it doesn't sound like we're going to find her in the woods. She's actually been disposed of like a piece of trash. And I don't mean to say that salaciously. I have to say what the truth is, and that's what the truth is.
Let's take a look at exactly what you're talking about, Holly. This is from ABC7. Prince William County prosecutors revealed that a canine cadaver dog detected a dead body in the primary bedroom and bathroom of the Bhatt's home. They then stated that Naresh was caught on camera driving around various communities in Northern Virginia, sometimes in the middle of the night, and dropping several bags in dumpsters around the time Mamta was last seen. Okay, Chris McDonough, how do you use that information, and how do you find Mamta?
Well, first of all, it tells us right off the get-go there's multiple crime scenes here. If he has dismembered her and disposed of her body all over the city, then each one of those dump sites is going to be a crime scene. The type of vehicle that he may have been driving, my understanding is it may have been a Tesla, Vinnie. If I'm right on that, there's going to be event data recording in that Tesla. I mean, today's technology, those vehicles even have some video inside of them. So that may give us some information. And then, of course, all the geo pings through a digital footprint that he may have been leaving around. And then if we go back to the house, obviously, what a lot of folks aren't aware of is even charging cords for telephones carry data. And if you're able to get those cords sometimes into the right hands, that may give you a time of death. It may, if she has a watch, a smart watch, that may give us a time of death, and then you can work forward from there into searching for her body.
Chris, how about the dumpsters, dropping several bags in dumpsters around the time Mamta was last seen?
Yep.
How difficult are landfill searches?
Yeah, they're really tough, Vinnie. The good news, though, is a lot of these companies, it's timed where they're going to dump all of this trash. So there's really sections of where each dump would be from various parts of the city. And so you just have to figure out what that schedule is and where that truck dumped its trash contents. And then you're going to have to set up a team to go in and siphon through all of that trash.
I want to take a look at this from the Prince William's Times report. Regarding his missing wife's cell phone, the prosecutor said it was still receiving data on July 29th, but not after that date. The last known location of the phone was in Loudoun County. Bhatt told police he was in a Loudoun County cafe near where her phone last pinged. We've got a map here so you have some idea of where the house is and where Loudoun County is, Prince William County. Holly, how would you describe these areas of Virginia for folks who aren't from there?
Yeah, we live, the DC metro area is definitely a populous area. So traveling from where we live, I live in Manassas, about 3 miles as the crow flies from the Bhatt house. So to go from Manassas out to Loudoun County, you're looking 45 minutes to an hour, depending on traffic. So this isn't like you just swing by Loudoun County. It's an intentional trip to go there. And I think that speaks to, again, the fact that Mr. Bhatt was sprinkling evidence all around these different areas, trying to kind of conceal whatever activity happened in that house. And that's really what we heard in the most recent court hearing, was that he was intentionally traveling outside of his home. This isn't Mr. Bhatt just taking out the trash and putting it at the end of his driveway. This is intentionally concealing and disposing of evidence in areas that actually are not adjacent to his home.
Chris McDonough, we've seen this more than once in some cases, at least allegations of behavior like this in other cases. But I want to get back to the cell phone. July 29th, last time that the cell phone's receiving data. They have the location, so that's significant. And if you're in an area like this that is populated, it seems like there'll be a lot of opportunities to get some level of surveillance video.
Yeah, there should be hopefully a bunch of surveillance video from not only, regular house Ring cameras, but maybe, traffic cameras. There may be a CCTV system with license plate reader data on it. I mean, that's a pretty big metropolitan area. And so I would suspect, because it's headed into DC, that they may have some significant digital footprint.
Holly, you may not know the answer to this, but for the investigators, I know it's important to recover her body, but how about for the family, for the friends, and for the community to be able to find Mamta? How important?
I mean, it's paramount, right? I think that's been the mission of the group that's been searching for Mamta, is to bring her back. We wanted to bring her back alive. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to bring her back alive after what we've discovered, but we want to bring her back for her family. Mamta's family and Mamta are very devout in their Hindu faith, and we know that having that body and doing the rituals for Mamta to pass on is very important to the family. So for them to get a real sense of closure, ideally, we need to get Mamta. We need to find Mamta. But as hard as it is to say, considering all of the facts that we've heard, it may be hard to bring her back in the way that we expected her to. But we're not giving up. The Manassas Park Police, the Prince William County Police, they deserve a lot of credit, because as the other guest says, the forensic work, the digital footprint, those are the things that are going to lead us to Mamta and ultimately lead Mr. Bhatt to pay for what he did. That, ultimately are allegations at this point, but we do want charges to come.
Absolutely. And I think what we're seeing in this case is a reaction from the community, and then law enforcement and everyone involved feeling that and understanding how important all of this is to everyone. Like, every case is important, but sometimes things slip through the cracks, but this absolutely has not. Chris McDonough from the interview room, great to see you. Still to come, what would it take to charge Naresh with murder?
Yeah, we see, like on Tuesday, Wednesday, she left, and then she says she's gonna go either New York or Texas, and then she left, she had the phone, and then she destroyed that phone, and then she left.
Sarah Boone is charged with second-degree murder after her boyfriend suffocated inside of a suitcase.
He's in the suitcase still.
There are multiple domestic violence incidents.
You two hitting each other. Sarah. That's my name. Don't wear it up.
He told you, Sarah, I can't breathe.
George Torres locked inside of a suitcase, begging for help.
I thought he was okay.
The Suitcase Murder Trial. Live coverage starting October 7th on Court TV.
she does return home, just give us a call.
Okay, if she didn't return home, like, let's say she's supposed to be returned home by Sunday or Saturday, because she worked Thursday to Saturday. Sometimes she doesn't come over here because, last time, it was like a few weeks ago.
Okay.
I have also worked, if I left, she has to take care of the baby. If she left, I have to take care of the baby. That's why she decided, like, okay, when I'm working, I'm not gonna come home. If she doesn't come, so I have to file a complaint, or what I supposed to do.
So there you hear Naresh Bhatt asking police, well, what should I do if she doesn't come back by Sunday? What should I do? Like, he's asking what he should do, if he should file a report. The defense is making a big deal about this. Take a look at what they wrote in their bond motion, trying to get him out before trial. On August 2nd, 2024, the Manassas Park Police did a welfare check at the home of Mamta and Naresh Bhatt. At 2 prior hearings, the Commonwealth asserted that Mr. Bhatt did not want to file a missing persons report during the August 2nd welfare check. Mr. Bhatt was never asked to report her missing. So it's like, am I supposed to? Like, they're saying that he's not really hiding anything, that he's just kind of following the lead of police and they're not asking him to do anything. But now he's been charged with concealing a dead body. But my next question is probably the most important one legally in this case, which is, what would it take to charge Naresh with murder? If he's concealing a dead body, they believe, okay, she's not alive anymore. Well, I don't think they believe she died of natural causes and he hit her body. So what is it going to take here? Still with us, nurse and Mamta's former co-worker, Holly Worth, and prosecutor and co-host of the Prosecutors Podcast, Alice LaCour is with us. All right, Alice, I'll begin with you on this. So what is it going to take here to charge him with murder?
Vinny, you heard all the evidence that was laid out that they have already. The reality is that the government can charge him with murder now, but they don't need to rush, and they shouldn't rush, because they're still executing search warrants. They're still getting data back from phones, from probably his Tesla. It takes time to build a strong and solid record to be able to convict him on murder. So they don't need to rush, because they can always supersede the indictment and add the charge of murder, especially because he is sitting in jail right now and he doesn't have the opportunity to flee or to further dispose of evidence. But you will see that they will continue to investigate and build the strongest case possible. I think a murder charge is right around the corner.
Okay, let me ask you a follow-up to that, Alice, because I think they're asking for a speedy trial in all of this. The defense is. Would the prosecution, if they didn't go forward yet with murder charges, could they try him for concealing a body and bring murder charges later after that trial, whether they win or lose, or will there be a problem with that?
So you could potentially face double jeopardy issues, but I think that is the tactic of the defense here. They want to rush to trial because they don't want additional charges. They can see the evidence clearly. They know what the risks are. Now, even if they push for speedy trial, as long as the charges are added before trial, you can still charge him and try him on concealment and murder charges all at the same time. And like I said earlier, they can charge now, but they actually have some time, even with speedy trial at play.
I want to take a look at this. This is interesting, because in that first wellness check on the 2nd, it seems like he asked the officers if they want to come inside.
Did she say why she left?
Yeah, because, we are about to separate, and then the home inspection come here to, I'm about to sell the home. So, she wanna say, okay, I wanna go, with my sisters, and then she used to work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Okay.
And then sometimes I don't know where, you can come inside or I can come outside.
This is you, sir.
Up to you, sir, yeah.
I'm wondering, Holly, at that moment, based on everything that we've heard, is it possible that Mamta could have still been in that home on the 2nd?
I don't believe so. Again, this is hard to say, but what we've heard that's come out, the Commonwealth introduced into evidence at the bond hearing that you were talking about, was that Mamta was last heard from confirmatively on 7/29, and then that cell phone activity really stopped within the next day or two. But nobody, no family, nobody heard from her after the 29th. So if you assume something bad happened to her the 29th or the 30th, they came to Mr. Bhatt's house on August 2nd. So the CCTV footage or the evidence that's leading to him putting her in the dumpsters all happened prior to August 2nd, which is perhaps why he felt well comfortable to say, go ahead and come into my home, because likely whatever had happened in that home had already been disposed or cleaned up. Again, these are allegations, but the timeline shows that he had time to do what he did and then start the cover-up process.
Taking a look at some of the digital evidence here from his internet searches, prosecutors alleging that as early as April 2024 from his work computer, he was searching how long does it take to get married after the spouse die? What happened to died spouse? Alice, do you find that compelling evidence? If that's
this
from
is
April?
Absolutely that certainly goes to his state of mind, and whether this was something willful, premeditated, all goes towards that murder charge. That's why I said the prosecution doesn't need to rush, because we also have a situation where, unfortunately, we don't have a body. You can absolutely have a murder charge and a murder conviction without a body, but I think if we are able to use all of these Google searches and the electronic evidence they're gathering now to hopefully find a body, it can help the prosecution get a better clue of what happened, to bring the strongest charge and to explain to the jury what they think happened between the two, and also to bring closure for Mamta and her family.
Absolutely. Holly, have we heard about any landfill searches that have taken place?
No, nothing that's come out in any of the court proceedings. I will say we did hear Manassas Park Police Department has done over 25 searches, so we certainly don't know the extent of each and every one, but I can say with a high degree of confidence they're out searching. 25 search warrants when we're talking about 6 weeks in. There's been a lot of heavy lifting going on to either find Mamta or follow the evidence trail.
Okay, Alice, before you go, just give me a number, 0 to 10. At this point, how strong is that case from your perspective?
It's a 10.
It's a 10.
He's going to face murder charges.
Okay. Alice LaCour, Holly Worth, appreciate your time and your insight. Thank you so much. You know, when a wife and a mother goes missing, we all know that the spouse will be investigated. And in cases where the spouse is like factually innocent, they did not do it, their cooperation is necessary. So you want to clear them as soon as you can, because once you clear them, okay, let's move on. The problem is many times they are not innocent, and they're the ones who hold the key to the case, but are unwilling to give it up. Mamta's husband has been charged and may know the answer here, but it may be up to a jury to figure it all out. I'm Vinnie Politan. We'll keep digging for answers as the investigation continues.